Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. This is a more of an impromptu podcast once again because I am back in Vietnam. I've been in Vietnam for a week now. I arrived last Friday, so it's been more than a week. But I feel like many things have happened in the past week that I didn't have a chance to record, but also because I just wanted to give myself that time to just relax and do nothing. I got my eye surgery done. I just went to do skin peeling. I don't know what's called in English, to act as a treatment for my acne and hyperpigmentation. I am going back to my hometown this weekend, so a lot have been happening, and so I just wanted to give you a bit of an update, and I just want to make this episode more of a catching up type of video. I don't know, I'm on my period, so last week when I was having my eye surgery, I was having a lot of, emotional feelings and just a lot of emotions, and in the beginning I was like, I wonder what's going on, because I didn't know where the emotions were coming from. But then a day later I got my period, and so I was like, okay, that explained everything. But also because I've been feeling very, very grateful, and just a point on feminine energy. I have been very much in tune and in touch with my feminine energy, and also because I have been watching videos of people being in their feminine energy and surrounding myself, especially on social media, with people whose vibes and just the way that they move around and go about their day really aligns with my vision and my goals for the type of person that I envision myself to be. So that's the reason why I've been kind of bouncing off of their energies in a way. I've been very slow in a good way, just, moving about and taking my time, not rushing things, and just, reminding myself that it is my vacation and I don't need to rush to do anything except from resting, doing whatever feels good for my body, and just prioritize resting, spending time with family. Although my dad and my parents are, working most of the time during the day, I have the evening to spend with them, and just the weekends especially. So I've been very, very much enjoying my time. I've been kind of not nitpicking, but paying very close attention to the way people talk. And because I feel like the way that people talk also radiates and just speaks volumes about who they are as a person. So I was editing my podcast, the other one that I recorded a month ago, I think. The other day I was editing that, and I was fixating on how fast I was talking. And when I was recording that episode, I didn't think that I was talking that fast. But when I was listening back and then editing it, I was like, whoa, I was talking very fast there. And I just feel like from the way that I talk, I sound like a person who's in their masculine energy. There's nothing wrong with, the speed at which you talk. But for me personally, I feel like the way that you talk kind of correlates to the type of energy that you're in, especially if you're a woman. So I've been very, very, very aware of the speed at which I talk. And if you, just to compare, you can, listen to this episode and then go back to the previous episodes that I uploaded, and then kind of compare the way that I talk and how fast or slow that I was talking in other videos compared to this one, and you kind of get an idea of which energy that I'm in. So sometimes when we talk about, energies, feminine energy, masculine energy, we talked about how how feminine energy is about being gentle, being expressive, but most of the time it also is about your posture, how relaxed you are. And for me, the biggest thing about feminine energy is slow and taking your time, but also the other thing is being comfortable and being relaxed. And when you're relaxed, you don't speed things. You don't feel the need to rush things through, especially when you're talking, but also when you're walking, when you're interacting with other people. You're never gonna be caught off guard if you're in your feminine energy. And if you just compare a man and a woman, a man is in his masculine energy and a woman is in her feminine energy, and you can kind of see the differences in how the masculine energy is very straightforward, very logic, very sometimes fast and wanting to get things done, whereas the feminine energy is all about slow movement. It's like water, right? Fluidity, flexibility, being able to move with the flow and just take things one at a time. And that's where I envision myself to be. Obviously, we all have yin and yang. We all have feminine and masculine energy within ourselves. So it's not like you can be slow and gentle for the rest of your day. It's not going to be, it has to be a balance between feminine and masculine energy. So if a man also has, feminine energy and a woman also has masculine energy, that's how we get things done as a woman, is to get productive, is to stand on business and to communicate, to set boundaries and to make sure that we're on track. That's where the masculine energy is very important. But after everything of that nature is done, we need to get back in touch with ourselves and our nature of being a woman, which is to be expressive, to prioritize pleasure, and to just take things one at a time, be slow, be enjoyable, be excited, and prioritize showing and expressing emotions. Once again, a man is like that as well. But obviously, the way a man and a woman express their feminine energy can be a bit different. This is from what I've been observing. For me as a woman, my feminine energy, or me being in my feminine energy, looks like being slow, taking my time, resting. But, my boyfriend sometimes being in his feminine energy means helping me, and talking with me, and it's not, I don't know how to explain it. It's just the feminine, I think personally, this is my personal opinion, but the feminine energy version for a man also requires some bit of masculine energy, because I don't think a man can be in their feminine energy completely, if that makes sense. So his feminine energy involves making sure that I am in my feminine energy. So he's working, right? He is standing on business. He is doing all the work to be productive. That's him being in his full masculine energy. But when he comes home, he gets to be pampered, and he gets to relax. But he also gets to make my life easier by, for example, spending time with me, talking with me, communicating with me, asking me about my life, my day, and just taking care of me, but not in a very masculine way that he needs to protect me. I don't know how to explain it, but it's a very different version of feminine energy for men and women. I need to kind of think things through before recording that episode, but I think that could be a pretty interesting topic to be talking about. But since this is more of an impromptu, spontaneous episode, I didn't think things through before just recording. I just pressed record and see how things go. But this morning I was listening to a podcast on YouTube by a YouTuber called, I think, Margarita, That's how you pronounce her name, I believe. She is one of the YouTubers, a very famous one, who's known for talking about feminine and masculine energy, especially in relationships. And there's this episode of her with another kind of YouTube content creator, also about feminine and masculine energy. And that episode was so fascinating because once again, they're in their feminine energy. So listening to them also makes me be in my feminine energy. So that's what I've been doing, just surrounding myself with those types of contents to act as a reminder for myself that I need to be in touch. I need to get back in touch with myself. I need to embrace my nature of being a woman. But there's one point that I just feel like it's very interesting that they touch upon is the guest. So the podcast is on Margarita's channel. So the other YouTuber content creator, she's a guest on that podcast, and she's talking about how she's been with her husband for the past 15 years. She met him when they were in high school, I believe, 17. And it's been interesting how their relationship changed as her energy changed. So at the beginning of the relationship, she was very in her feminine energy. He was the pursuer, and he was very much in his masculine energy. But things changed when she got into work, a corporate job, and she went to college, things like that. That's when she was very much in her masculine energy. And she was talking about how she could feel the relationship changing based on what energy that she's in. And after they're married, that's when she kind of knew of this concept of feminine versus masculine energy. And that's when she started to implement these concepts, these principles into their relationship. And she also watched how her marriage changed completely. And I just feel like it's very interesting how we often talk about how if, your man is not masculine, you should leave him right immediately. And on one hand, I agree with that to an extent. Obviously, if your partner is somebody who's not willing to provide for you, or who is not willing to change and be a better man for you, obviously there's no point in staying and mothering him. You're not his mother, and you're supposed to be there as a partner, and not to mother him, basically. But on the other hand, I feel like I don't think it's healthy to put such an emphasis on the man being the reason or the deal breaker or the reason why the relationship doesn't work. Because I also bought into that concept and that belief a while ago of, looking at my boyfriend and kind of critiquing him for not being masculine enough and not, doing everything for me, and not providing, not paying everything, not, paying the bills and things like that. And I got to the point that I was very frustrated, and because I was constantly being fed those concepts and beliefs on the internet saying, oh, you should leave your man, and you deserve better, don't settle for less, which, obviously don't settle for less. But I think it's an excuse to not solve the problem and to not grow together, because the whole point of being in a relationship is to grow together. And she brought up a point of being, if you're already in a relationship with your partner, or if you are married to them, there is a reason why you're in a relationship with them, right? In the beginning, because you saw them to be a good person with potential and potentially a good partner. And so there's a reason to that. And so now, because of him not being masculine enough for you, that's not a good enough of a reason for you to break up with him. And it's pretty, if the roles to be reversed, imagine if your partner comes to you and break up with you because you're not feminine enough, that would be viewed as a toxic behavior. So she brought that up, and I was like, yes, that's That's what I needed to hear. Because although I believe that there are certain behaviors that would be considered, deal breakers, like him cheating, him not changing, him not listening, him not validating your feelings, I think it's important for you to, especially at the beginning of the relationship, to sit down with yourself and ask yourself, what are the deal breakers for me and what are my non-negotiables in a relationship. And then when you're in a relationship with a person and you see them do a certain behavior that rubs you the wrong way, ask yourself, is that, based on your list that you made at the beginning, is that considered a deal breaker behavior, or is that something that we could work on together? I heard Liz, the wizard Liz, talking about this the other day as well, saying how, somebody commented that they did not like the way that their partner sit or the way that their partner stand. And I was like, that's ridiculous, right? That's something that we could work on together. And so that being a deal breaker and that being the reason why they broke up is something, that's not a good way. And I feel like that's an excuse rather than, an actual reason. So being very careful of what could be a good enough reason to break up with somebody, because you already spent time with them, right? Being in a relationship means you are already committed to that person. Especially if you're married, you have been committed to that person, and you are also committed to your kids and your future kids, if that makes sense. So as long as he's not doing something that is a deal breaker behavior, I think we should give him a chance to change, but also give us a chance to practice communicating and practice setting out boundaries. Because I was falling victim to this at the beginning. I was being fed, like I mentioned, such not toxic. I feel like those people who had those ideologies, they had their own reasons. But for me, if I were to continue with my relationship holding on to those beliefs, my relationship wouldn't have survived to this day. And we just had our 1-year anniversary, and I know 1 year is not a long time, but it's also not a short time. So I've had my 2 cents on that, of things being my deal breaker. I'm not gonna settle on that. For example, cheating, obviously that's a non-negotiable. But there's some things like, he's not being masculine enough. I feel like that's a pretty vague reason, and we have to be pretty specific of why is he not being in his masculine energy. Is it because you're not in your feminine energy, and is it because you are mothering him? Because we women, we have a tendency to take care of everything. And the guests on Margarita's channel, they talked about how women are very relationship oriented and relationship focused. So if something comes up, especially a problem comes up in our relationship, we are the first person to pick it up. And because we are the first person to pick it up, we have the urge to solve it. And that's us being in our masculine energy. For example, your partner forgets to bring out the trash, or forgets to do whatever that you're asked them to do. Instead of being resentful about that, try to be playful and try to, use another tone or another expression to talk about that problem without upsetting each other and without making it bigger of a problem than it already is. So you can be like, I don't want to take out the trash. Can somebody take out the trash for me? Or asking a question, right? Why is the trash not taken out? Things like that. Just, also pay attention to your facial expressions as well. This is something that I struggle with because my face is not very friendly, especially if I'm not smiling. So I've had to be pretty careful about my facial expression, especially when talking to my partner. But it all boils down to communication. And obviously, even if something is not a deal breaker for you, if you have talked about that problem multiple times already and your partner is not changing or it's not compromising to make your life easier, dump him, right? It's to me, I don't like repeating things multiple times. 3 times is maximum for me. The first 2 times I could view that as, an accident, but over 3 times of me explaining to you and you're not listening to me and you're not respecting my boundary, I am done. Even if that is something as small as whatever, right? And obviously, you have to know your tolerance level, and depending on different things, you might have different tolerant levels to those things. For example, taking out the trash, that's a pretty minor thing, right? So I could tolerate him forgetting to take out the trash 7 to 8 times. But if it's something a pretty a bigger problem, for example, him not texting me enough or not being active in texting and communicating, that to me is a pretty big problem. And so I can only tolerate him not doing that 3 times, for example. And obviously cheating is a very, very big problem. So once and you're done. So different things have different levels of tolerance. And so making that clear to yourself in advance is very important. So that's what I had to do, because if not, you're gonna fall victim to other beliefs of other creators on the internet. And although there are some creators that are good and that are very objective to the way that they communicate their messages, there are other YouTube creators or just content creators in general, they're pretty toxic. And if you're not careful of selecting what type of information that you take in, you're going to be falling victim to that mentality over and over again. And that's going to cause damage to your relationship in the long term. And that's also going to, alter your perception for the long run as well. And that means that for the next future relationships, it's going to be the same cycle repeating itself. That's very important. So that's what I've been learning, of not falling victim to, mentalities, and being grounded in your ideologies and your beliefs, and knowing that this is something that we can solve, instead of, oh, you're not being masculine enough. Relationships are something that's very sacred, and we shouldn't treat it as something that's, one time and you're done. It's something that needs to be cherished, and something that needs to be worked on together from both sides. So that's my little rant on relationship, and I just feel like it's very interesting. But that being said, I just want to, do a bit of an update on my eye surgery. So I had my eye surgery, I think last Friday, and I did Smile, I think Relax Smile. It's I don't know, it's an eye surgery method to combat nearsightedness. And I did that on Friday, and to me the pain level is none, but the discomfort is pretty high. I got my eye surgery done in Vietnam, so I don't know about other treatments in other countries. But for me, that was very uncomfortable, and my eye's still healing, excuse me. I just had my second checkup yesterday, and everything was fine. The doctor said that I need to be more active with my eye drops and artificial tears, because my eyes are pretty dry. So I need to, do more of that, and then just continue what I'm doing. So that's good. But the pros of doing this treatment, the Smile Relax, is that the healing time is like instant. After you're done with the surgery, you go back home, you sleep, take a nap, whatever, and then you wake up and your eyes completely normal. Obviously, you cannot have water in your eye just now, but the vision is great. Your eyes are not that dry. It's not comfortable. It's not uncomfortable, and it's not red or anything. and it's basically normal eyes. So that's why I did it. And then I also did skin peeling on Thursday last week, and my skin has been flaking off, so that's very uncomfortable. But I can already tell that the hyperpigmentation is going down and my skin is getting less oily, so that's good. And then I have my routine checkup on, I think, this Thursday, because I only stay in Vietnam for a month and a half. I don't have enough time to wait around for different treatments for my skin. So I talked with my dermatologist, and he recommended that we do stronger and more frequent treatments. So that's what we agreed to. So it's gonna be once a week. And because I just peeled my skin, I just did the skin peeling treatment last week. So in my head, I'm thinking that this week it's not gonna be something dramatic. It's gonna be something that's very soothing, very healing. But I don't know just yet. And he might prescribe me some more creams to, put over my skin. But I'm not allowed to I'm not allowed to take any medicine, pills, or supplements just yet, especially for the first 3 months of me getting my eye surgery. I'm off of any type of pills and medication, unless emergency, obviously. So no supplements, no vitamins, no skin antibiotics, except the ones that are prescribed by my eye doctor, ophthalmologist. So that's the only medicines that I'm allowed to do. And then for the first week, I have to wear this glasses to protect my eyes from dirt, from wind, from things falling and being in contact with my eyes. And then the first 3 days is, just resting and doing nothing. And then, but yeah, after a week, I think we're off to being normal again. So I'm very excited about that. So yeah, that's my little rant. I hope you enjoy listening to me ranting. I know this is a pretty spontaneous episode, but I really enjoy giving my 2 cents on feminine and masculine energy. I'm gonna try my best to get the other episode uploaded. I've been procrastinating, but my excuse is that I'm on my period, so everything takes triple the time to get it done. I got the thumbnail and everything done, but I need to write the caption and upload it. So I'm gonna do that either today or tomorrow. But thank you for listening, and I'm gonna see you hopefully in another episode very soon. And until then, bye bye.